Welcome back everyone, my name is Lee from Lou's Kitchen. Today we're going to turn this beef fat that I got for my brisket into beef tallow. So I trimmed up a brisket from Costco and it was huge, and I took off a lot of fat, so all this. Now, rather than just throwing this out, I thought, let's make some beef tallow. And as you might have heard, animal fats are slowly having a comeback, and they are actually better for you than those seed oils and everything out there. I try eliminate seed oils as much as possible, so I use mostly olive oil for most of my cooking, and then I do use rice bran oil in my deep fryer, and that's something I need to get away from, but I might use my deep fryer maybe once a month, so I don't think it's that bad. But I thought we'll try and cook this down, make some beef tallow, and then I can use that for like frying off my meat and everything when I'm doing dinner and everything. Now, this isn't the cleanest fat, so you can see it does have a bit of color and everything to it. So it's not going to taste pure, and it will have some flavor to it, which is why I'm just going to reserve it for just like cooking meats and all that. So when you're preparing your fat, you want to cut off as much meaty bits as possible, because that will add flavor to the actual fat, and that's what you don't want to do. So after you've done that, you want to cut up your fat into small pieces. So the smaller you cut it up, the faster it is going to melt down and become your lard. Now, I have a meat grinder. I saw on Homesteading Family they use the meat grinder to actually grind up their fat to make it go a lot faster. And I've got a meat grinder, so I'm going to do that. So it's something really important. If you're going to grind up your fat, just make sure it's almost frozen. So I actually froze this for a couple of days, and I pulled it out of the freezer yesterday. So it's pretty dense still. I'm going to cube it up, and we're going to put it through the meat grinder. So this is still pretty frozen, so I'm just going to cut this into manageable pieces, just to make it easier to put through the meat grinder. Alright, so now that's in pieces, this will come apart a lot easier now, so now we can put it straight through the meat grinder. So this is my meat grinder. I just got it from Guys, and it's Kenwood brand. Does a decent job. I'm going to get a bowl under here, and then I'm just going to break up some of this fat just to make it easy for me. Push through. Alright, now I'm going to start it up. It's pretty loud, so bear with me. Alright, so that's all the fat we've got out of it. So just be very patient when you're grinding it, especially if it is frozen. Just feed a little bit down at a time. Don't force it, or else you're going to stuff up your grinder. So I'm just going to make sure I get this in the sink straight away. And just get these soaking at least. And this little one, that was plenty of meat. Meow. So now we're going to melt it down. So I suggest you have a heavy cast enamel pot or something like this that really holds the heat in, and we're going to start melting it down. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our stove onto a medium-low heat. We're just going to get this pot just heating up just a little bit. And then with our fat, we're not going to add it all of it at once. We're going to add just enough to cover the bottom. Then we're going to just slowly render that little bit down, start to get some oil down the bottom there. And then once we have some oil down the bottom there from the fat, then we can start adding the rest of it. And at this time, we just want to go low and slow. We don't actually want this to boil or anything like that. We just want all that's about melt down. And then once we scoop out all the leftover bits and pieces, then we can start heating it up and cooking out all the excess water and everything out of it. And if you didn't want to do this on the stove, you could probably also do this on your slow cooker as well. I'll just fill it up, put it on low. It will take a long time on slow cooker, but that just means it's going to be hands off and it's less likely to catch. So now there's enough fat on the bottom there, I'm going to start filling it right up to the top. Alright, so now it's the waiting game. So now, just give it a stir every now and then. And I'll show you when we get up to the next step. No. Does anyone else have a curious cat? So I've just turned up the heat a bit more on this. You can see it's melted down quite a bit now. Put down to about a medium heat now. And we're just going to gently just keep heating it. So this has been going for about 45 minutes, and you see this is melted down really quickly. Some people says this takes hours to actually melt down, and it went pretty quickly. So you can see the positive of grinding the fat up first. Alright, so now I think I've got all the goodness out of this fat. I'm going to drain it and get all this excess leftovers out of it. And then we're going to put it back onto the stove, and then we're going to heat it up properly and get all this water out of it. Now, if this was pork fat, you could let this cook out and you'd basically turn it into little crackles, which would taste absolutely amazing. But I've been advised beef tallow tastes of absolutely nothing. Alright, so now we're going to put this back on the stove. So now you can see this is bubbling away. That means there is still water in this, so we're going to keep just gently simmering this away. We don't want to heat it too hot or anything. Just a gentle simmer and let all that water evaporate. And I'll show you how it should look later on. So as you can see, these bubbles are getting much smaller now. And it's bubbling a lot less now, so this will be ready soon. As well, I've just been skimming off all the bits that are coming to the top and starting to brown, because we don't want that to affect our end product. Alright, so this has been heating up for about an hour now, and now you can see there is absolutely no bubbles in this. And this has been heated up to about 150 degrees Celsius or around 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can see there's no bubbles or anything coming up. There are some little tiny bubbles, but it's completely normal when you're heating oil. You'll see it cycling around and everything. So that's now ready to be jarred up. So this is at about 150 degrees right now, so I'm going to let this cool down a bit, and then I'm going to get into jars. So now the tallow has cooled down enough, now we can jar it up. So if you really wanted to, you could pour it piping hot into jars, put canning lids on it, and they'll make it shelf stable, absolutely no problems. I'm not confident doing that, so what I've done is I've let it cool down enough so I can handle it. I'm going to strain it, and then I'm going to pour it into canning jars, and then I'm going to actually store mine in the fridge. So all I've got is just a nice clean dishcloth in a sieve over a Pyrex jug. And then we are just going to carefully, pour this into the jug and change the I'm going to lay the lid in. There we go. How good does that look? And this will seal up. It will turn a lot more paler once it has cooled down, so don't worry too much. And there we go, 4 jars of natural, healthy fat that we can use for our cooking. So forget all your seed oils. If you've got fat to render down, do this. It's not that hard, anyone can do it. And it's gonna make your food taste so much better. And it's gonna be so much better for you. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a good like. And if you wanna see more, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.